I'm Jessie from the blog Seasonal Southern Living in Spanish, and today I'm going to show you how to make an easy side dish that everyone in your home is absolutely going to love. We are going to be making corn casserole. Now, this dish actually comes from my sister-in-law, Teresa, and I noticed that when we went out to Texas to visit family that, I think it was for Thanksgiving, that there was a side dish on the table and it was corn casserole. And I want to say that we've had it before, or at least I have had it before, but I don't think that my children had had it. And they loved it. They just absolutely loved it. They kept going back for seconds and they were like, Mom, you have to make this. So anytime my kids like a side dish, I take notice, and I've been making this corn casserole for them ever since. So the original recipe actually calls for Jiffy corn muffin mix, but if you've been following along, this week I introduced that our family was starting on a journey with sourdough bread, and that's because long fermented grains are easier on the digestive system, easier to handle, and our family kind of has a history with we need a little bit, we need to be gentle with the grains that we eat. So I do try to substitute gluten-free when I can and not sacrifice flavor. And so I'm using Krusty's gluten-free honey cornbread and muffin mix. I love it. To me, it is a great substitute for Jiffy corn muffin mix, and it is gluten-free. So that's what I'm going to be using for my recipe for my family. But feel free to use the original recipe of Jiffy corn muffin mix. That's how I've always made it. But I do want to make a substitution here for gluten-free. Okay, so this is just for my family. There are 5 of us, so I'm gonna do a dish. Usually when you see it, I'm gonna do a smaller dish because there's only 5 of us. But usually at holidays, you see it done in a 9x13 pan that's a little bit deeper and longer. But that's a lot of corn casserole just for us. And my family's not really big on eating leftovers. So I try to be mindful. I don't like to waste food at all. And yes, I do freeze leftovers. But if I can make a smaller one, I will. So I'm gonna take my mix here. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray my pan with a little non-stick cooking spray, and I'm gonna have it sitting here ready and waiting for me. This recipe, oh, that means the oven is ready for me to go. I set the oven 350 degrees while I'm mixing the ingredients so that when I'm done, it's ready to go in. This is such an easy recipe because it's basically opening things, dumping them in a bowl, mixing it together, and popping it in the oven. It is perfect for busy weeknights. It is great for holidays, gatherings. I always like to bring up company. It's great for company because it's pretty and it's delicious and it's easy. So I'm just gonna open, if you're doing this with corn muffin mix, you're just going to pour that into a bowl, your muffin mix. Of course, you could make homemade cornbread if you want to. Nothing wrong with that. In a little while, maybe on down the road, maybe this fall, I'll upload a video with a homemade cornbread recipe with that. So, I have it in my bowl. First thing I want to add, besides my corn muffin mix, is 1/2 cup of melted butter. Just going to mix that up a little bit. I'm going to be adding 1 egg. And you don't have to do this. I don't normally do this. I just usually crack it right in. But it is a good idea. I already had the 1/2 cup of melted butter in this measuring cup, so I've already dirtied it up. So I'm going to crack my egg into that just to make sure that I don't get any shells in it. And I didn't, but it's nice to do. That way you don't have to try to dig them out of your finished product. Now, I'm going to continue with my 1/2 cup measuring cup. And I'm going to do 1/2 cup of sour cream. The next thing we need is a can. I have 15-ounce can of Golden Sweet whole kernel corn, and I have a 14.75-ounce can of cream style corn. I'm gonna add both of these, and I'm not gonna drain any of the juice. I have all of my ingredients in here, and I'm just going to mix it up. Next, I'm going to add the cheddar cheese. I'm only going to add half of the cheese into the recipe, and I'm going to use the other half of the cheese to sprinkle on top. Now that I have my mixture completely combined, I'm going to pour it into my baking dish, and I'm going to bake it at 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. Now it's time to go in the oven.